Finally, at long last, I know everybody's been waiting for this moment. The moment I will receive the sting from the closest relative to the executioner wasp. 3. Ooh! That was worse than I expected. Many times in the course of my endeavors, I've been asked, why do you care so much about these insects? I mean, I care so much that I'm willing to get stung by these insects. This is my answer. It's really the same reason that any biologist, botanist, or entomologist even takes on the course of their lives. Entomology goes pretty far back in time, actually. Way before Justin Smith ever received his first sting that eventually turned into the Insect Pain Sting Index. Some of the first accounts of entomology actually go back to an insect that is now known for having the most painful sting. Long ago in 1768, the wealthy naturalist Joseph Banks procured a female specimen of a giant wasp, which eventually arrived in England in 1771. Just before that happened, the Danish man Johann Christian Fabricius began to work on his first publication, the Systema Entomology, in which he attempted to list all known species of insects, which at that time included spiders and crabs, showing how much we really have to still learn. Fabricius began making yearly summer trips to London to study the collection that Banks and others had made in foreign lands, where he was able to study the Banks Brazilian specimen of wasp at Banks' London residence. In 1775, the 832 pages of the Systema Entomology were finally published, and in this, Vespa carnifax was scientifically described. Using Banks' specimen as a holotype, this specimen is now stored at the Natural History Museum in London. The world of entomology was advancing. Pierre-André Latreille created the genus Polestes, and in 1804 Fabricius moved this species from Vespa to the new genus, giving the executioner wasp the name Polestes carnifax. In fact, on several expeditions this very large paper wasp was collected. It was given several different names. At this time, 3 different people had worked on Polestes carnifax to get the facts right: Banks, Latreille, and Fabricius. The authority citation of the species had ironically been attributed to Henry Louis Frederick de Saussure, who wrote some of the most important books on the subjects of wasps. In 1853, de Saussure recognized that numerous taxa which had been described by others were the same species, which included Polestes ornata, Rufipennis, Transverso strategia, and Polestes valida, all being the same as Polestes carnifax. Saussure also synonymized Polestes chlorostoma and Polestes Major, although both are now considered valid species. One of the hypothesized phylogenetic trees puts Polestes carnifax most closely related to Polestes Major. These are facts that I feel are important to mention so we can better understand Polestes Major and why it is called Florida's executioner wasp. I mean, for hundreds of years it's been known as the same species. Polestes Major has been captured. We're going to find out just how painful the sting of this wasp actually is. Before I receive the sting, first I want to take as many accurate photographs of this specimen for identification and to use as a reference for anybody who wants to research this species in the future. I'm Alex, the host of The Great Outdoors. Today, inside of this little capsule, I have one of the largest species of paper wasp found here in north central Florida. This is the closest relative to Polestes carnifax, which is known as the executioner wasp. In fact, for many years' time, they classified this as the executioner wasp. It wasn't until recently they reclassified it as its own separate species. It is a very large vapid wasp that forms colonies on top of eaves and other structures. It is a social wasp. It also has 3 different active peptides in its venom. So that means there are 3 different possible reactions I can be looking forward to. Now, this species of wasp has made a recent introduction into Spain, which is posing some different problems for that country because it is much larger than any of the other native wasp species found in Spain. While the wasp is classified as a separate species than the executioner wasp, this wasp, Polestes Major, does have its own pretty menacing nickname, the horse's paper wasp. Due to its large size, medical treatments in Spain may not be strong enough to counter the stings of these bigger wasps. Because of this new threat, analysis of the venom has revealed that there are 3 active peptides in it. Now, I've never seen the sting of the Polestes Major or Florida's executioner wasp ever done. Today, we will induce a sting, but first, I have to figure out how to get this wasp out of this capsule and into my entomology forceps. Let's go ahead and do that now. By placing this wasp into my minnow net and then trapping it into here like this, I should be able to force it to crawl out of one of the small holes. And while it's crawling out, I'll be able to get the proper placement on this wasp to induce a sting, just like that. That worked perfectly. Oh yeah, it's agitated. Now I can remove the net out of the equation. This is Polestes Major. Finally, at long last, I know everybody's been waiting for this moment. The moment I will receive the sting from the closest relative to the executioner wasp. This is the Polestes Major sting test. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh! Ah! I could feel the sting immediately. It felt like a hot ember fell onto my arm. Ah! Oh yeah, that one stings. I was contemplating taking a second sting, but already the immediate burning sensation took my breath away. God dang, right away. I realized the sting of this insect was different than any of the wasp stings I had already taken, which was almost every other species of Polestes found in Florida. Okay, hold on. I realized I better put the wasp back in the capsule so I could film a proper release. And that the sting I've been waiting for 2 years to find, the sting that sub after sub had been mentioning, was finally achieved. Let me put this wasp down for a second. That was worse than, oh my god. Look at the red, the blood already forming right here on the surface, immediately blood. Now I just had to wait and see what the full effects of the large paper wasp venom actually were going to be. That was worse than I expected. I didn't even have a chance to push that wasp down onto my arm. It just literally stung as soon as it was within range. And that burns really bad. That's worse than any of the other wasps so far. Wow. Holy cow, I've never felt one like that. Y'all, I think this one is worse. I found this to be the most interesting part. While this wasp is technically classified as a separate species to the executioner wasp, they clearly are almost indistinguishable from one another. Both have dominant yellow body color with the exact same number of brown stripes. Both of these species are neotropical vapid eusocial wasp. One way to distinguish between major and carnifax is the antennas. Carnifax exhibits orange antennas, while Polestes Major only has orange on the tips. However, this cannot be the only means of distinguishing between species, especially when their distribution ranges intersect, because the Polestes Major specimen I procured exhibited nearly all orange antennas. I determined that I was dealing with Polestes Major by geographic distribution. However, as in the case with the Japanese giant hornet, species can migrate. We must rely on a variety of other clues, like the size of a small Polestes carnifax is roughly the same size as a large Polestes Major. Female Polestes carnifax typically exhibit an enlarged head, while female Polestes Major exhibit a slightly enlarged head. And the last method that I felt like had some potential to identify a difference in species. In Polestes carnifax, the clepsis, the area just between the eyes, the large plate on the front of the face, is generally not touching the eyes over much distance. In Polestes Major, the clepsis is noticeably touching the eyes. Yet the clepsis in the photograph of this Polestes carnifax nearly matches this photo I'd taken of my Polestes Major. A method some entomologists use to distinguish between species is social behaviors. But we have to ask ourselves, are these behaviors acquired or inherent? I guess it's easy to see why Henry Sassouris anonymized Polestes Major as being the same as Polestes carnifax. I mean, is it? Y'all, I think this one is worse than even the Queen Yellow Jacket. I just want to wait a minute and see. We're right at a minute, and this is the initial sting swelling area. I'm gonna go ahead and mark it with my pen so we can really keep track of the progression of this insect sting. And I can tell you, the swelling has far exceeded my expectations already. It's within 1 minute. I mean, we're only 1 minute into the sting, and this whelp is already enormous. I don't know how bad this is gonna get. I have a feeling this one's gonna leave a mark. All right, it's time to go ahead and let her go. Bye, oh, there she went. That didn't take long at all. She got a lot of spry to her. Bye, girl. It's been real. This thing is not a sting to be taken lightly. It felt like somebody took a hammer and hit my right there on my arm, and now it's all swollen and tight, and it still hurts here today. It's been 24 hours. I would say that it's tolerable, but definitely something you just want to avoid altogether.